Arch Linux is basically one of my favorite distributions. I love making videos about it. You guys seem to enjoy them too because I get quite a few view counts on those videos. So any opportunity I can find to do some Arch Linux videos, I mean, you guys love them. I love the distribution. It's just a great match. So in a recent video, I wiped out my ThinkPad T480S and I decided to install Openbox on it, which is a Debian-based distribution that forgoes a desktop environment and instead uses a window manager known as Openbox. In that video, I decided to use it for a week and then kind of see what I thought. Can I use Openbox in 2019? So check out that video if you haven't already done so. But I have more than one laptop. And what I decided to do was wipe out my System 76 Galago Pro and basically run the same experiment where I run an Openbox distro for a week to see if I can use it. But in this video, the difference is I'm going to be doing this on Arch Linux, which is going to be especially fun. Now, Openbox itself requires a fair amount of customization to make it usable, and Arch Linux needs quite a bit of customization to make it usable as well. So I thought this would be an awesome opportunity to build a custom Arch Linux setup with my own config files, my own package choices, and in addition to letting you guys know how I was able to use it for a week, I'm basically going to show you my build. So as of right now, this laptop right here is still running Pop! OS. I haven't wiped it yet. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and go through the installation of Arch Linux on this machine. I already have a video on my channel that shows you guys how to install Arch Linux, so I'm not going to repeat that here. Specifically, the method that I'm going to use is the encrypted LVM method. So if you want to follow along with me and install Arch Linux, then you'll check out that video. I'm going to use that all the way up to the command line, and then I'm going to show you guys how I install Openbox. I'm going to install Xorg and so on and build it up. And then I'm going to cut the recording. I'm going to use it for a week. And then I'm going to come back and record the second half of the video where I show you guys what my experience has been. And I'm going to combine it all into one video. So I'm not going to double dip. I'm not going to have two videos. It's all going to be under one. But it's just going to be a different perspective in the first half versus the second half, which I think is going to be kind of fun. So let's go ahead and install Arch Linux. I'm going to go ahead and open up my laptop right here. Now, as you can see, this is my Pop! OS installation. This is SyncThing. This is the first thing I'm checking. I'm just making sure that everything is up to date because you want to make sure before you wipe your machine, obviously, that you are backing up all of your files. I don't have to worry about that because all of my SyncThing repositories here are all up to date, so I am free to go ahead and wipe this machine. So next, what I'm going to do is open up a browser. I'll go to archlinux.org. Here I am at the main site. I'm just going to go over here to download, scroll down a bit, find my local country here, and then I'm randomly going to choose Amir. I need the 64-bit version. This first option right here should be fine. And here it is. You can see it downloading here at the bottom. And I have my flash drive right here. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the computer, and I'll copy the ISO image over to this to create a bootable media. I'll boot from it, and then we'll get started. You can see that it's already downloaded down here. The download is successful. So next, what I'm going to do is open up a terminal. And then I'm going to go ahead and write this to the media. So I have a video on my channel that shows you guys how to do this if you don't already know how. I recommend the etcher method because it's safer. I'm going to use a completely different method in this video, but it's just my preferred method because I'm a little old school. But I recommend you use the etcher method if you don't already have a preferred way to write ISO images to flash drives. So in my case, I'll just do sudo fdisk-l. And right here we have my flash drive. It's a 16 gig flash drive. I already know that it's dev SDA because I'm using an NVMe hard drive, which means that the SDA device name is free and is used by the first USB flash drive I plug in. So I know that's the right one. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and write that. So I'm going to do sudo dd input file. We'll do downloads Arch Linux. That's the name of the ISO image. Output file is going to be /dev/SDA. I'll use a block size of about 4 megabytes, and then I'll make sure that it's synced. Here we go. We'll go ahead and write it. All right, so it's written, and I can go ahead and close out of everything here. And let's reboot. I'm going to reboot the laptop right now and get the installation started. Okay, so we have the boot menu, and I'll go ahead and select my strangely named flash drive. I'll choose the first option. As you can see, I've booted from the Arch Linux installation media that I created here on my flash drive. And I have the root prompt. So again, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and proceed to install Arch Linux. I'm not going to go over the process again because I'm following the exact process that I used in my Arch Linux LVM tutorial, which is going to be linked in the show notes below. So if you want to follow along with me, then go ahead and complete that video. And then we're going to basically be at a point where we have Arch Linux booting up to a prompt, which looks exactly like this one. And then from there, I'll show you what I'm going to do as far as building it up the rest of the way. So I will see you right back when I have that done. All right, so I am back. I successfully built my Openbox-based Arch Linux installation on this laptop right here. And I've been spending some time on this. I've actually been using it for about a week to make sure that I'm getting a good feel for my new custom Openbox installation. So I'm actually pretty pleased with what I've come up with. So let's go ahead and check it out. So here on my laptop, what you're seeing is my actual Arch Linux installation. And this is Openbox, but you'll notice that this looks nothing like the Crunchbang installation I was using because I wanted to go with a completely different style. Now, before I give you guys a look at this custom installation of Openbox, how did I install it? What packages did I need to install and whatnot? Well, I'll go ahead and show you that right now. So I've already recorded the process as I was going through the installation of the various packages. So I'll go ahead and switch over to that, and then we'll come back here and I'll show you around. So first we need to update our software sources. So we'll do sudo pacman-syyy. Notice that the S is capitalized to refresh our package sources, make sure we're up to date there. And now we basically just go ahead and install the required packages. There's going to be several of these. Go ahead and pause the screen if you need to, but here I'm basically installing Xorg Server and then the video driver packages specific to Intel. So we'll go ahead and let this continue. So now we have some more packages to install. So go ahead and pause the screen if you need to, but we need Openbox itself, and we also need LightDM. And go ahead and install the LightDM GTK greeter as well, like it says on your screen. That's required for login. You need LightDM and that greeter package. So make sure you install both of those, and of course Openbox itself. So the LightDM package is completely useless if it doesn't start automatically. So this command right here will take care of ensuring that happens. So next we're going to install the Network Manager applet, which will allow us to access Wi-Fi and network connections while we're logged into Openbox. So those packages are downloading here, and these package names will be in the wiki article, so don't worry about it if it goes too fast. And even though we're installing the Network Manager applet, it does need to be made to start with the machine. So we'll do sudo systemctl enable network manager. And then we can go ahead and give it a reboot. And if everything goes well, hopefully Openbox will automatically start. All right, moment of truth. Enter the unlock key here. And here we have the login screen. So it looks like everything went well. So we basically just make sure that we have Openbox on the list, which we do, and it's selected because it's the only item available. And then I'll just put in the password, and then we'll log in. Now it may not look like it, but login was successful. When you install Openbox, you get this right-click menu right here, but there's no wallpaper, there's no panels, there's just the right-click menu, which is like an application menu. You can see all the applications here. I just opened up Xterm, but that's just because I went ahead and installed that. That's just a default application menu. And then here I'm basically going to install Tint 2, which will give us a panel. So let's go ahead and do that. It's a pretty quick package to install. And then we can go ahead and launch it. Just backgrounding it there, but you can see it appear there at the bottom. That gives us a nifty panel. How cool is that? And then here we need to install Terminator, at least I am. That's my favorite terminal application. So go ahead and let that install. But I really recommend installing Terminator because I think that it's one of the best terminal emulators out there. So that's just something awesome to have on our Openbox installation. And here it is. So basically we have Terminator, so we can enter commands. And in my case, I went to preferences, I changed quite a few things, and this is the final result right here. I basically removed the annoying header bar and simplified it a little bit because I don't like to see any information that I don't absolutely need to see. And here you have a pretty plain terminal, but it is Terminator, and it is awesome. All right, so with that out of the way, let's go ahead and check out my custom Openbox installation on Arch Linux. So I wanted a very simplistic wallpaper, and you should always write nice code. So as you can see, here's the wallpaper. I don't remember where I found this wallpaper. I just thought it was pretty cool. And since it was simple, I thought it kind of fit in with what I wanted to achieve. Just, simple colors, it's not too busy, and it has a very important message. Now on the left, I have the Tint 2 panel. So I noticed I have the text kind of out of alignment here, but you know what, I guess I'll fix that later. Or maybe I won't, maybe it's okay. But I wanted to have the panel on the left side because on widescreen displays, you have less real estate up and down. You have more real estate left and right. So I felt like having the panel here on the left made more sense in my opinion. So I'll go ahead and open up my terminal. And here I have Terminator, and I have the Terminus font set up, which is pretty much the same as I did in the Crunchbang video, Crunchbang++ that I've reviewed earlier on my channel. So just to show you guys the font, which I think looks really, really cool, I'll just go ahead and make this bigger. And then I'll enlarge the font size here, which will hopefully make this come through better in the video. You could probably see why I like this font so much. Now, this is Terminator. I did customize it a little bit. I removed that annoying little header bar up here at the top to make it look more like a proper terminal. And of course, you can see the icon here on the left now that I've opened up an application. So another thing I could do is open up a file manager. So I installed PCManFM, which is one of my favorite file managers. And you can see that, it's very basic. And of course, we have another icon here. So this will basically give you an idea of the icon theme that I chose. Then you can, of course, see the window bar theme here that I chose for the applications and the widget themes. So just real quick, I'll show you those themes. And I created a custom menu here. But I'm going to go to User Interface Settings. And we can see that the widget theme that I'm using is called Vimix. And basically what you do is you just download those themes and then you store them in .themes in your home directory. Actually, in this case, I just probably installed a Pacman package, but this is all well and good because you see the Pite Dark theme that I actually used for Openbox. So if I bring that up, the Openbox config tool, you can see here where I actually selected the theme. I went through several of these actually. You could kind of see the difference. But I settled on this one because I feel like this is closer to the vision that I had for this. I just basically wanted something very simplistic. So this here in the Openbox Configuration Manager package that I installed basically just gives me the ability to customize Openbox itself. So of course I can customize the desktops and the appearance. So for example, what fonts I'm using and whatnot. And then of course we have the theme. And the theme here that you select in this utility, which I believe is the LX desktop configuration tool. I forgot the exact name of it, but it just says customize look and feel up here. I basically have a bunch of packages that I always make sure are installed in Openbox. And I installed all of those packages here, but you can see we have the Vimix theme. And this theme in particular the theme that you customize here has to do with the buttons that you see in different widgets. So it doesn't really affect the window border here at the top. It only affects the controls, but then you also select the icon theme. So if I bring up the file manager, and I'll go ahead and change the view here. So maybe that'll show the desktop icons a little bit better. I'm using the Vimix paper theme, and that's the icon theme that I'm using here. So if I switch desktops, you can see that it emptied out my panel right here, so it only shows the icons of the applications that are open on that workspace. And if I start to cycle through, you can kind of see the categories that I created here. I have a bunch of different desktops, so I went ahead and customized that as well. So pretty much these categories are just the types of things that I do. So for example, admin work, I have a workspace for VMs, and media, listening to music, for example. I'm researching something, or in this case, communication. Although I'm not really following that scheme here because none of these are really related to communication. I'm just basically showing off what I have here. So I have Synapse, which is basically how I'm able to do control space. That's a package that I installed, and it allows me to basically open applications. So for example, I just type the first few characters of Firefox, and it goes ahead and opens up. And I haven't actually been using Firefox on this installation as of yet. I've been checking out Google Chrome, but you get the idea. Firefox is installed, and this is the latest version. At least it should be. I might actually be behind in updates. Nope, this is the latest version. So I have the latest version of Firefox here. And this is Firefox downloaded from Mozilla directly. This is not an Arch Linux package. This is the method that I prefer to use. So for example, I do ls-l on the op directory. You can see that I have Firefox here and Thunderbird here as well. I manage those myself because I don't want to wait for a package to come in for an update. When Mozilla releases an update, I want it right away. And I did create a video for how to install a custom Firefox. That video was for Debian, but it's not specific to Debian. I used that same method here to basically give me Mozilla's pure version of Firefox. So overall, I really like the simple, plain look and feel that I've created here. I think I'm going to keep this around for a while. So go ahead and check out the show notes below this video, because I'll have a wiki article listed there with some notes on how I set this up. So if you're curious, what packages I've installed, I did show you the packages, but if you want to copy and paste, for example, check out that wiki page for a list of the packages that I installed. And of course, if there's anything I forgot to include in this video, corrections, omissions, or anything like that, I'll also include those in the wiki article as well, should the need come up for me to do so. Now, I love Arch Linux. It's one of my favorite distributions, and this is why. As you can see here, I was able to build my own custom Openbox implementation on Arch Linux. And, until you see this video, there's no one else out there with a setup like mine. I'm sure maybe some people will copy this setup, and I hope you guys do, because if it meets your need and you like it, then definitely take my configs and my wallpaper and whatever else and go ahead and do that. But it just goes to show you how powerful Arch Linux is, because if you want to build something very custom, you can definitely do that. And I've enjoyed the process quite a bit. Now, I mentioned that I've been using this for about a week. What are my thoughts? So my thoughts are that, I really do like Arch Linux and my installation. I'm going to keep it around. Normally I like to give you guys my impressions of a distribution after using it for about a week, but I'm always using Arch Linux on at least one machine anyway. But in this case, using Openbox and going from using GNOME primarily back to Openbox. I used to be a huge Openbox user, but now I've become a GNOME user. There's some features that I end up missing, like automatic screen switching, which is the same thing that I brought up in my Crunchbang++ video. I have the same problem here. If I plug in a dock, it doesn't automatically switch the screens. Now this is Linux, so of course I can create a custom script that will do that for me. But I just haven't had a chance to get around to doing that yet. But that's the only rough edge that I really run into. Openbox with the right applications and settings can be a major benefit to your computer because it's very fast and stays out of your way. So if you're looking for something lean and mean, even though Openbox is a lot harder to customize, I still recommend it because once you get through the customization, it's not going to change, and you could back up your config files, and that way you could always restore your configuration on a new machine and not have to do the work again. So yeah, you're doing more work at first, but after that, you know what, it's fine. You're probably not going to run into any manual setup after that. So what did you guys think of my custom Openbox installation on Arch Linux? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you've created your own custom Openbox implementation, then why don't you create a screenshot, upload it somewhere, and link to it in the comments below. I'd be excited to check that out. And in the meantime, if you haven't already done so, please subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for checking out my video. I really appreciate it. If you found it useful, click that like button, and if you haven't already done so, make sure you subscribe so you'll see the latest content as soon as it becomes available. If you want to help me out, there's links down below for my Patreon page, as well as links for purchasing my Linux books, and also my affiliate store, which has a listing of Linux-compatible hardware that I've actually tested personally. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.